Hey guys, John Oakes here, and this is a super important topic. So I want to spend a couple of minutes to really dig into this. And, I'll preface this ahead of time by telling you that some of what you're going to hear may be not what you want to hear, right? But I like to focus on telling people what they need to hear rather than, giving them fluff and trying to sell them something and that kind of thing that you see a lot of in the industry, right? I think everybody's probably sick and tired of that. So because this is such a super important topic, I'm going to keep it completely real with you. I'm going to try and keep this short and brief, but, there's some things that just have to be said. So what are we talking about? We're talking about what I like to call broke mindset prison. Okay, so here's where this comes about. I sent an email out to my entire list, which you already know about because you're probably seeing this video inside the blog post where I'm talking about that. But I asked a single very important question, and that question was, what's your biggest challenge or struggle right now that's keeping you from getting the results that you want? And the results that I got were first off, a lot of them, but over half of them were directly related to money problems, right? People that were making statements like, I can't afford this. In fact, let me read you just a tiny subset of the questions or replies that were related to this question. And this is like 5 or 6 of them out of, I think there were over 60 that dealt with this particular issue. So I was getting a lot of questions related, sounding like this. I can't afford to get started. I can't find a low cost or free business to start. Everything I see is asking me to spend money before I make money. I need something that only requires me to pay after I'm making money. I'm disabled, so I have no money to start anything. I'm on a fixed income, so I need a cheap business and I can't find one. I'm desperate for money, so I have to make money right now to survive. And then the last one is, I've spent so much money in the past joining businesses that I don't know where to start. I don't want to get scammed. Okay, so again, this is a tiny subset of a lot of questions that all kind of culminated down to those 5 or 6 that I just read. And the bottom line here is that lack of money is not a barrier for your success or starting a business or anything that you want to do that requires money. It's just not, unless you're stuck in broke mindset prison. Okay, and I just kind of made that term up, but it seems fitting. And so what do I mean by that term? Well, the bottom line is that, everything that we have, that we do, where we are in life right now is a culmination of the way that we think, and then in turn, the actions that we've taken leading up to this point. And if you have these beliefs, these self-limiting beliefs about money, and you continually tell yourself that you're broke and so that's why you can't do stuff, or you're disabled, that's why you can't do stuff, or you're retired, so you're on a fixed income and therefore you can't start a business. Those are the things that are going to become your reality. The bottom line is that being broke, not having money in your hand or immediate access to money has never stopped anyone who's dedicated from actually achieving a set goal, whether that's starting a business or accomplishing anything. So let me prove that point. A couple of months ago, I created a blog post and it was called 27 Ways to Get Money to Fund Your Business. And I laid out 27 really simple, and well, some of them were not so simple, right? Some of them were a little more complicated, but there were 27 super valid ways to be able to create money to fund a business, to either get started or to further fund a business, to keep a business going, whatever it might be. And since I published that blog post, there's been hundreds of people that have read that. And I've gotten tons of replies from people that say, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that I could do that. Or, hey, item number 17 was the deal for me. I did that and I created, $3,000 in the course of 30 to 60 days. Whatever it might be, I got lots and lots of responses on that. In fact, one response in particular about a week ago, I posted and shared on Facebook. And in fact, I'll share a link to that post directly under this video in the blog post that this video is on. And I want you to, after you watch this video, to click on that and go read it if you haven't read that post, because it's a perfect example. It's one of my subscribers. She responded to me and said, made one of these common statements like, I can't get started because I don't have any money, so I guess I won't be able to do any kind of business. I've been trying for years, but I never seem to have the money, right? This self-defeating, self-talk, negative talk, stuff going on in her mind. And so I replied to her and I sent her a link to this blog post and I said, look, if you have a dream and it's big enough, strong enough of a dream that creates the desire for you to do whatever it takes, to make that happen, then you'll be able to find 2 to 3 things in this blog post where you can actually go out there and create the money that you're looking for. But you have to stop telling yourself that you can't and instead start asking yourself questions like, how can I? Right? That's what really stimulates your brain and gets things going in a whole different direction. When you say things, even if it's just the way that you're thinking about things and you're thinking, I can't do that because, or there's no way that I can accomplish that, or I'm broke. You keep telling yourself you're broke and that you don't have any money and that you'll never have any money. And you've got this tightwad grip on every last buck that you have. You're never going to experience the abundance that's all around you. Money is flowing all around you every single day, but you're not going to see it because you're gripped so tightly on what you have, and you have this poverty mentality where there just isn't enough to go around. And if that's the way you think, then that becomes your reality. And so you have to start realizing that you got to open that up. You got to be willing to spend money to increase your personal value. Educate yourself, learn new things, be free with spending money on the right things, and starting a business that can help you accomplish the dream lifestyle that you've always wanted is one of those things, right? So it's simply a matter of figuring out a way to come up with the money to start your business. And when you start thinking in those terms, everything just opens up. And I'm telling you that you'll be able to find 2 to 3 things inside that blog post also that are totally viable options for you to go out there and create the money that you need to be able to fund whatever type of business you're trying to start. So I encourage you to do that. There's also directly under this video a link to that blog post. So number one, click and read the Facebook post where I share the story of the woman. I forget the fictitious name that I gave her because I didn't want to share her real name on Facebook without her permission. But I told her story in there. It's laid out. You can see how that worked out for her. And then go ahead and then click the link that goes to the other blog post where you can read through those 27 ideas on how to come up with the money. Because I just want to share how important this is, that it is a perceived jail that you're in. If you feel like you're broke and you feel like you can't go anywhere, it's you that controls the bars on that prison. You can open that up at any time. It's not locked, right? The door's not locked. You can just push it open, and all of a sudden, all the solutions are out there, but you have to start thinking a little bit differently. So on that note, let me talk about a couple other things that can also affect that. Some of the questions were, like when people say, they start the sentence right off with, I'm disabled, so I can't do that, right? Or I'm on a fixed income, so I can't do that. These are very important things to note, that they're limiting themselves without even being aware of it, right? Like, think about this. If you're running an online business, or you're starting a network marketing business, or really any business for that matter, being disabled is not really a factor, right? Your customers don't care that you're disabled, whatever level of being disabled that might be, right? It doesn't matter if you can do the business activities and you can do these things. Being disabled has no bearing in it whatsoever. So why is it that you feel the need to even mention that or bring it up? Nobody would even know unless you tell them, right? So these are things where you're thinking in your mind, okay, well, I'm disabled, so therefore that's going to prevent me from doing certain things, and then that becomes your reality, right? So I'm going to make a book recommendation. Let me grab it. I'm going to recommend this book, okay? It's called Psycho-Cybernetics, and I'm not going to go too much into detail on it. I'm just going to tell you, bottom line, it is the most powerful book I've ever read in my life. I've gone through it many, many times now. At this point, I carry it with me all the time. I've made a study of what's in that book, because right here is the key to all the limitations that you think you have. And when you learn how to control those things, you can unlock all of those doors, and you can control your entire outcome for everything in your life. And it's that powerful. And this book teaches you how to do that. First, it gives you the understanding of how it works and why it works, and then tells you how you can actually go in and manipulate that and be able to accomplish anything that you want. And it all links to your self-image, right? So if your self-image is of a broke, disabled person, no matter how many internet marketing strategies or businesses you join, you're never going to see the kind of results that you want until you fix that self-image, right? So the self-image is the key to all of it, right? And if you have any kind of limitation, like if you have a belief that money is bad, If you were somebody who grew up and your parents always told you, oh, those damn rich people, they're so greedy and they never pay taxes and, all this stuff we hear about rich people, right? And you watch movies where the big villain in the tower, the rich guy, is always the villain, right? It's always the guy with the money who's the bad guy in all these hero stories. That stuff has an effect on all of us. And so when you can clean out that crap and start controlling what goes in and understanding how it works, just even understanding it has an impact on the results moving forward. So super important. Get a copy of that book. It's like a $10 investment that is worth an absolute fortune to you. So I'll put a link to that book also underneath here so you don't have to try and read it backwards in the video. So with that, let me give you a couple of tips, all right? Bottom line is, again, lack of money has never stopped anyone dedicated to a cause from achieving it. Doesn't matter what that cause is. Lack of money is not a barrier. It's just not. It's in your head. You can always go out and figure out a way to raise money. It's not that hard to do, and I give you 27 ways inside that blog post that's linked directly under this video. By the way, if you're watching this video on YouTube or anywhere other than on my blog, then look at the video description and you should see the link to the blog post. Or you can always Google my name, or at the end of the video, I'll probably put a link to my blog, just for those that maybe didn't see the post. So again, business is never free, right? So if you're looking for a free business, you need to stop that right now. There is no legitimate free business. You're not going to ever get any level of success in any business without spending money on tools, training, your education, systems, all these things you need to have to run a successful business. It requires investment, so it's going to take money. So go ahead and change that gear right now. Put the free business thing out of your mind. There's no such thing. If you're somebody who's been waiting for months and months and months. I actually spoke to a woman the other day. She said, I've been searching for 2 years for a business that I can afford. Okay, so again, let's talk about how impactful the way you think is on your results. What does that mean, right? She's looking for a business she can afford. Well, the truth is you'll never, ever find a business you can afford, ever, right? Because 95% of businesses that are started with borrowed money. People don't have the money laying around to start businesses. When I started my business, I was not only broke, had no income, but I was also like $800,000 in debt with 2 properties in foreclosure and no income, right? So what did I do? I borrowed the money. I put some on a couple of different credit cards. I borrowed from a family member. I did what it took to borrow the money to get all in my business so that I knew I had everything I needed to achieve the level of success that I wanted. And 6 months later, actually, I think 7 months later, I had my first $10,000 month, right? Why is that? It's because of the focus and the way that I looked at it as a business, not as I'm going to dip my toe in the water and then maybe if I start to make some money, I might take it seriously and maybe then I'll upgrade or buy additional training. That's the way most people think. And that's why most people are not successful, because they're not approaching things right out of the gate the right way. So again, it goes back to that book. Goes back to some of the things we talked about just a minute ago. Come at it from a business mindset and stop looking at lack of money as an obstacle, because it's just not. It's really not. Okay, so your desire to have a better, and by the way, I'm looking at notes because if I didn't have my notes here, this video would go on way too long. I want to keep it to like 15 minutes just to respect your time, right? This is a topic I could talk on for days because there's so much to it. And you can tell I'm very passionate about it because it's all right here. This is the key to your success right here. It's all up there. You might think, oh, that's a bunch of, phooey, that's, weird magical stuff. And, that isn't what it is. I just need a good strategy. No, it's here. It's right here. It's all about how you think about it. So be willing to invest in yourself and your business and have a desire that is strong enough to carry you through those obstacles when you face them. Because the bottom line is, no matter what kind of business you're building, what you're trying to accomplish in your life, you're going to face obstacles, right? And whether or not those obstacles appear as a brick wall or they appear as the little pebble in the road that they really are is going to depend on your mindset and how you're approaching it, how serious you are, which directly links to how bad do you want it, which is driven by that real vision, that goal that you have for your future, what you're trying to achieve. Whether it's, the ability to spend a lot more time with your family, that's what it is for me. That's a big one. I like to be able to travel the world, take my family on crazy vacations, go all over the place. And you know, my 8-year-old son has more stamps in his passport now than most adults do. And that's because my vision was strong and it carried me through to get the level of success that I wanted. So you have to have that, whatever that might be for you. Figure out what it is, write it down, think about it, visualize it every single day. Another key thing is, you know, be 100% committed to your success. And I mean 100%, not 90%. You just have to commit. And, you know, if you're in a business and you know it works and you understand the model and you're committed to it, then commit to it, really commit to it, stick with it and go with it. If you're in a model that isn't really conducive to what you're trying to achieve, then find a model that is, right? Find a model, find a good mentor and lock into it, commit to it and go for it. Show up to your business and be consistent. That's the other key thing is, you know, you've got to show up every single day. You've got to do the things you need to do, especially when you're first getting started, and you have to be able to have that drive and that motivation to be putting in effort and energy into your business even before it's returning that in the form of monetary, a monetary reward, right? It's that delay of gratification. You have to be willing to work through that because that's how it is for every business. You're going to put in time and effort and money for a while before you start seeing the return. That's the difference between a business, the entrepreneurial, way of doing things versus being an employee where you do the work, you get paid. You do the work, you get paid. But as an entrepreneur, once that flow is going, then things really change. And if you're in a leveraged model and you're applying leverage to your business, then that's where that income continues to climb, even though what you're doing is still staying the same, or consistent or even backing off a little bit, right? That's the really cool part. So with those, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. Again, just a reminder to check out that Facebook post link directly below the video, and then also the link to the blog post where I show you 27 ways to raise capital. I'm telling you, if you can't find at least 2 to 3 different ways inside that blog post to come up with money, then I would tell you that you need to go back to the drawing board and come up with a bigger motivation, a bigger dream of what you're trying to achieve. Because if you want it bad enough, you'll find stuff in there that works for you. I guarantee it. So with that, I will see you in the next video. We're going to talk about some good stuff in the subsequent videos and answer a lot more of the questions that I got from my subscribers. I hope you're one of them. If you're not a subscriber, be sure and find that link somewhere on my blog post and become a subscriber. I do my best to send out, as much good stuff as I can. I try to just really pour my heart into everything that I do. I hope that comes through, and I'll see you guys in the next video.